morning,
you?
sir.
Good morning or good evening? Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. So I'm going to ask some questions from whatever we have discussed so far. You guys quickly revise what we have learned in the previous class. I will be back in just 1 minute. Let me have some water. Okay. Yeah. Hope I'm audible to everyone. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do tell me, based on the number of cells found in an organisms, what are the two different types of organisms we have studied about?
The two different sir, multicellular organisms and unicellular.
Okay, is that true, Halima?
Yes.
Very good, both of you. Okay. Okay. Also, do tell me, similar types of cells would combine together to make
Tissues.
tissues. Very good. Okay. Define organs. What are organs?
All living things have organs are groups of organs interacts with one another to form a particular function.
Okay. There you are defining the organ system. See, talking about organs, basically a group of tissues would be performing a particular function in the body and then form an organ. Like the muscular tissue will be combining together to form a muscular organ. Like for example, talking about like the lungs. Lung is a organ. So a group of tissue found in the lungs are performing a particular function and thereby forms lung, which is an organ. Furthermore, group of organs would be interacting together. They would be working together with one another to form a organ system. Very good. Okay, do tell me, what are the different type of tropism we have studied in the previous class?
Hydrotropism, geotropism, and phototropism.
Phototropism. Very good. Okay. Further, today we are going to learn about, okay, what are the two types of geotropism, by the way?
What's up?
What are the types of geotropism?
Negative and positive.
And positive. Very good. Negative and positive geotropism. Very good, guys. So today we are going to learn about another characteristic of living organism called as growth. So all living things are known to show some movement. They would be growing, right? So for example, a child would be growing into an adult, or a seed or a seed of a plant will grow into a tree. Furthermore, you see that this growth is happening in one direction, like meaning that the growth of a child into an adult man, into a grown-up man, it can't be reversed. It's an irreversible change. So growth in living things is irreversible in nature. Getting it, guys?
Yeah.
Just like you can't get back the seedling or the seed back from a grown-up tree. Just like we can't become a baby again. So talking about growth, every living things show growth. Whether it be plants, animals, and microorganisms. Microorganisms. Right? Furthermore, it is irreversible. It is irreversible. Just like we have studied previously moments ago, like a man can't become a baby, or a tree can't become a seed again. Getting it?
Or a plant.
Okay. Or a plant back into a seedling or a seed. So hope that is clear to both of you. So all living things shows movement.
Yes,
sir. Okay, now. Furthermore, you have got another property of living. By the way, you guys are noting it down, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, note it down, and once it is done, do let me know.
Yes, sir. Finished.
Finished? Okay. Now, furthermore, you would be you should ask this question, like, sir, we have two types of
sir.
organisms. Done. Good. You have two types of organisms, like you have multicellular organisms and unicellular organisms. So the
Yeah.
manner in which unicellular organism would be growing and the manner in which a multicellular organism would be showing growth will be different. Like, for example, you have an amoeba. So when we talk about growth of an amoeba, its size will be growing. It's not like amoeba is a unicellular organism, if you guys can recall. It's just made up of one cell. So throughout its lifespan, it is going to remain a single celled organism only. It will not become a 2-celled, 3-celled, or 10-cell organism. So when we talk about growth on a unicellular organism, its size will only increase. Previously, this might have been of this much size only, let us say. This much size only. Later on, it increased. Its size later on increased. Getting Ira, Halima?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when we talk about growth in the case of single cell organisms, their cell would be enlarging, their cell would be growing. So in unicellular organisms, the cell size increases. Cell size increases. Later on, we would be learning in the case of reproduction also that how new amoeba will form. Like amoeba will basically split into two halves, and a new amoeba will be formed. Later on, we are going to learn about that also. While in the case of animals, we know that the numbers, when we talk about growth in the case of animals and plants, basically multicellular organisms. So thereby they would also be showing growth. Not only the size of the cells are going to increase in their body, but the number of cells are also going to increase in their body. And the number of cells will keep on growing throughout their life, because many cells are dying also every day. You guys know, like, can you guys guess that how many cells in a living organism like a human dies every day?
Maybe
sir?
like 1,000.
Not just 1,000. My question was that on a daily basis, how many cells in a human body die?
It's uncountable, sir.
It can be, obviously it is difficult to count, but we can estimate.
Maybe over like
Sir,
100,000.
it can be millions.
It is in billions. Okay, now. It is in billions. around 50 to 60 billion cells in our body die on a daily basis. Getting
Yeah.
it, guys? So thereby it is quite logical that manufacturing of new cells should also take place at the same time, right? So new
Yes,
cells
sir.
are also being manufactured in our body on a daily basis, and the size of some cells also keep on increasing. So in multicellular organisms, the number of cells increases on a daily basis. Okay,
So
write down this much.
multicellular organism consists of many cells.
Yeah, many cells, more than one cells. There are going to be thousands. There's going to be trillions and billions of cells in them. Every organism that you can see with your bare eyes without the help of a microscope, that is a multicellular organism. So note it down. After this, we'll be learning about excretion, which is another characteristic of a living organism.
Sir, what?
Excretion, basically removal of waste.
Sir, so unicellular organisms, they're also growing.
Unicellular organisms, yeah, they are also multiplying, they are also growing. Their size would grow, but up to after some time it is going to stop. It's not like it is going to become very gigantic and then it will become visible to us, to our bare eyes. No, it will grow. After some time its growth will also stop. They're also going to reproduce, like their numbers are also going to increase by simply cell division. Their is also going to divide. So like for
Okay, sir.
example, you have an amoeba. An amoeba will simply split into two halves. It will split into two halves like this. And that is how their number increases. But that is very different from that of humans. In humans, the case of reproduction is very different. In the case of humans, the reproduction takes place in a different manner. Anyways, we'll be
Okay, sir.
learning about that later on. Do let me know once you guys are done writing it.
Sir, I finished writing.
Good. Okay. Have you guys seen that some gummy substances would be leaking out of the trees?
Like
Yes, sir.
sap.
Sap, yeah. You can call that sap. Or like you would have seen raisins would be coming out of the tree.
Yes.
Resin or latex would be coming out of the tree. You would have seen a golden yellowish color substance coming out of the bark of the tree called as resin.
Yes, sir, I've seen.
Resin's good. Or you would have seen latex also coming out of the trees. Have you seen latex, anyone? Latex,
Like
which
white
is
color,
white color, using which rubber is made.
Yeah.
like mattresses.
Mattresses, etc. They are made from it. So plant would be getting rid of, you'd have seen plant would be releasing latex, they would be releasing resins.
Yes.
Okay, both of you done writing it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. Now we are going to learn about excretion, how excretion, which is also one of the characteristics of the living organisms. So we normally know in the case of humans or animals, they would be getting rid of, like once you have taken in the food, once the food has been completely digested in your body, and every component present in the food has been absorbed by the blood. So then the food is useless. Now it is a waste. It has to be removed from the body. So why the anus? It is excreted from the body, and we get rid of the solid waste called as feces, or we get rid of the liquid waste called as urine, right? But
Yeah.
this excretion is seen in the case of plants, and it is seen in the case of the amoeba also. Like different kind of microorganisms also would be getting rid of the waste. right now. So we humans have got particular special organs for removal of waste. While in the case of microorganisms, you'd see that they don't have particular well-developed organs for removal of waste. They can get their waste can be removed from any part of their body. Anyways,
Yeah.
the main thing we are going to learn over here, apart from humans, how plants would be getting rid of the waste. Like in the case of humans, we would be getting rid of waste in the form of feces, which is the solid waste. Solid waste. Liquid waste in the form of urine, or gaseous waste is also released from our body, that is carbon dioxide. So the
Yeah.
while you are breathing in, you are breathing in air, and you are exhaling out air
Carbon
also.
dioxide.
Very good. So the air that you release back into the environment, that is rich in carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide is a gaseous waste produced by our body, so it has to be removed. So in this manner we get rid of the waste. Okay, but what about the plants? How do they get rid? So they would be getting rid of waste in the form of
Leaves like
Hmm.
the stomata.
Not stomata. You would see that many times plants would be getting rid of
But
the leaves. Wilting of leaves is seen. Mhm.
they will get rid of the waste in a form of gum,
Good.
latex,
Latex. Good.
And
resin,
resin?
Resin. Very good. Okay. Now, furthermore, you see that
There
there
are
are some.
only these three, or
No, no.
there are more.
There are some more also. Okay. Now, there are some more also. Like for example, why does wilting of leaves occur?
What?
Wilting of leaves.
Sir, what is building?
Wilting of leaves. See,
Um,
see, basically, wilting of leaves is basically now you would get to know that many a times now leaves would kind of become like this. A leaf is like this, and this leaf might become like this. So whenever there will be too much loss of water from the leaves, or if there is not sufficient amount
Sir,
of moisture, yes,
wilting of leaves can be caused by waterlogged soil or
yeah,
drought,
it can be, but it is partially caused by drought when there isn't availability of water in the soil,
loss of water.
loss of water. Furthermore, then this leaf will die,
Yeah,
right? Also, you'd have noticed that whenever the plants would shed the leaves, when plants would get rid of waste by shedding their leaves also.
yeah,
So what basically happens when the leaves and bark of the trees they are shed, when they fall off, in that manner also plants are kind of getting rid from the waste, right? Now also
Yes, sir.
apart from these things, you know about transpiration, like if there is excess amount of water in the plant body, so they would be getting irritated by transpiration, where why the stomatal pores they would be getting rid of water. Okay, now so what basically happens, talking about shedding of leaves, that is also one such way in which plants would be getting rid of waste. What happens, whatever waste products are produced by the plants, whatever waste product is found inside the plants, so they might be storing it in the leaves. Waste products might be stored here, stored in the leaves.
stored in the leaf.
Like the excess water, it's like in the leaves.
No, excess water would be loosed by the leaves via transpiration. We would be learning about that in a minute. First of all, let us understand about the shedding of leaf. Then we would get to transpiration. Okay. So moments ago, you guys learned like in the form of gums, resins, and latex, they would be getting rid of the waste. Apart from that, shedding of leaves and bark also is one such way in which they would be getting rid of waste. So plant would be storing the waste products in their leaves also, in their bark also. Okay. So by shedding the leaves, and by shedding the barks in this manner, they would be getting rid of it. Right now?
Yeah.
Furthermore, like the gaseous waste produced in the plants. What is the gaseous waste produced in the case of plant?
Carbon
Oxygen.
dioxide.
Very good. Carbon dioxide, right now. So particularly in the night, the carbon dioxide gas would be removed from their body via the stomata present on the surfaces of the leaves, right now?
Yeah.
So when we look at the surface of a leaf, so we get to know that there are so many tiny pores present over here. By the way, there's a structure called as stomata. There would be structures looking like this present all over the leaf. There are so many of them, and in the middle there would be a hole present in it, which will hole, or you can call it pore. So this is called as stomatal pore. Stomatal pore, and this whole structure is called as stomata. Right now, stomata.
Yeah.
So the carbon dioxide gas, which is there in their body, which is a gaseous waste, so they want to get rid of it. So it will come out via the stomatal pore. It would be released via this stomatal pore. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All of you? So that is the thing. Hope you guys have understood this. So you guys are going to write down only those things which I'm going to underline in this, okay? Not
Yeah.
everything. So give the heading excretion. Furthermore,
Yeah.
write the first statement. Excretion is the process of removal of waste from the body of a living organism. Most animals excrete solid waste in the form of feces, liquid waste in the form of urine, and gaseous waste in the form of carbon dioxide. After this, plant gets rid of waste in the form of gums, resin, latex, comma. After this, you'll not write etc. You will continue from here. Then write shedding of leaves and bark. Do not write wilting of leaves, okay?
Okay. Leave is process of waste.
Whenever a plant has to shed its leaves now, you will get to see that the leaves will start to turn yellow in color. Then later on, it will
Yes, sir.
turn into brownish in color and then finally fall off.
They're
Sir,
like
and
changing.
my garden is also there.
Like their color is changing, like maybe
Hmm.
because of the chlorophyll.
Yeah, because chlorophyll pigment will basically start to die, and that's why color starts to change. Halima, you were also saying something?
Sir,
Okay, sir.
that it's like that in my garden is also there.
Yeah. So that is one of the way how plants get rid of get rid of waste. Do let me know once you guys are done.
Sir,
Yes.
in the second point, what is the form of?
Form of feces. In bracket, I have written solid waste. No need to
Okay.
write this solid waste because it is already written over here. Here it is already written solid waste.
Okay. Faces.
Yes.
So this is about the animals, right?
Which one? Yeah, the
The
previous
second
one. Yeah, this one is about the animals only. Okay.
Okay.
While the falling of the fruits, now dropping of the fruits, don't consider that as a that is not one of the way in which plants get rid of waste. Okay, no, that's a different thing.
Okay, sir.
Mhm.
Sir, after that shedding of leaves, what did you write?
Bark, bark.
Okay.
You guys understand what is a bark? No, bark of the tree,
Yes, sir.
the woody stem, basically.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I finished.
Finish. Good. After this, we'll be learning about respiration.
Sir, what?
Respiration,
Respiration.
respiration.
Okay, sir.
So all living organisms are known to do respiration. All living organisms do respiration. Okay, now. So whether it be plants or animals, whether it be bacteria, whether it be algae or fungi, everyone will be doing respiration because every organism needs energy to be alive. So it's a process that takes place in the cells of different living organisms right now. So where whatever food that organism has eaten, it will be broken down. In order to obtain the energy from the food, it has to be broken down in the body. So it is
Done, sir.
why done. Good.
Yeah.
So talking about respiration, see, say whether you have a human or whether you have a microorganism like that of a amoeba, for example,
Or bacteria.
or you can have example of a bacteria, for example. Let us say you have a bacteria, or say you have a plant. All these living organisms requires energy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every living things requires energy. In order to obtain energy, obviously they are going to eat some food. Their food variety might be different, kind might be different. So, but
Yeah.
how do they get energy from it? Just by eating it, they can't get energy from it. The food that they're eating, it has to be broken down. It has to be broken down right now.
Yeah.
So thereby,
Yes, sir.
for example, let us consider the example of the human. Okay, now, like how uh, how re- how respiration takes place in the case of human body. So say you have taken some food. Food would be containing different type of things. Food different components would
Like
be for
vitamins.
Nutrients,
vitamins would be
carbohydrates.
there, carbohydrates, very good. Huh? So let us say, for example, carbohydrates or some other components are found in the food, for example. Mainly carbohydrate is found in the food, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
A major component of the food is carbohydrate. So you have
Like
eaten it,
bread or grain.
very good. Rice, bread,
Yeah.
etc. Very good. So uh, there's this common question I ask many times to a student: why do we need oxygen? The
So
most
we can breathe.
see, breathing is the
Sir,
exercise of taking in oxygen.
uh, we need oxygen to live.
Okay, obviously that is required for living. But what is the specific reason for it? What is the main reason?
To survive, to grow, to
Yeah,
reproduce.
okay, that I sure for I'm agreeing for what you are saying. But the main reason behind the requirement of oxygen, as you said, it is to
To
survive,
make
to grow,
energy.
to make energy. Now you're getting close to the answer. Actually, it is required. It is very critical, very important for respiration to take place. And
Yeah.
respiration is basically the breakdown of food in the presence of oxygen. So the
Break
food
of
mhm,
fat.
breakdown of fat, breakdown of carbohydrate, etc. Basically, the food that you have eaten, it would be broken down with the help of oxygen. And all this is happening inside your cell. Remember that, okay? No?
Yeah.
It is not happening in your
Okay, sir.
stomach. It is not happening in our intestine or large intestine, nowhere else, but it is happening in the cells of the human body, cells of the
Sir,
uh,
oxygen is mostly used for manufacturing of steel.
for manufacturing of
Steel.
oxygen is used for manufacturing of steel.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it is used there. Yeah, that isn't correct. That is not wrong. It is used there in the manufacturing of steel. That's a different thing. Uh, like for the purpose of decarbonization, there it will be used, or for some other reasons also it will be used in order to increase the heat of the furnace. Huh? Like oxygen is a supporter of burning.
Yeah.
Oxygen gas is a supporter of burning. So while like when you would be heating the iron now, so in order to heat the iron, we can use oxygen gas to heat to increase the flame in the furnace. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a different thing. Coming back to the topic, why we need oxygen is that I was telling you moments ago about respiration. So it's the process by which we living organisms would be using oxygen to break down the food, and in the process of doing so, energy will be released. Energy will be released. Apart from this, a gas known as carbon dioxide is also released. Getting it, guys?
Yeah.
So that is what
Yes, sir.
respiration is. Okay, now it's the breakdown of food in the presence of oxygen, in which energy will be released. Apart from energy, carbon dioxide gas is also released. Along with this, water is also released. So that is what
Sir,
respiration is.
plants require oxygen to respire.
Yes, plants also require oxygen.
This pro
Uh,
this, this is the process in which it returns or gives out carbon dioxide.
In the process of respiration, plants would be giving out carbon dioxide, while in the process of photosynthesis, they require carbon dioxide. Okay.
Sir, so we need, like, when we break down our food, like carbon dioxide and energy is like coming.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, sir.
When you're hungry for a while and then you eat something, then you get energy. Your energy is restored. It is because oxygen broke down that food, and in doing so, energy was released. Also, carbon dioxide gas is also formed, which you emit out, which you exhale via your nose, which we release right now.
Yeah.
And water is also released in this process. Getting it now? So hope you guys are getting it.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's a biological reaction that is happening in every organism, and it's a 24-hour process. It's a 24-hour process.
Sir,
24.
there is respiration in plant cell also.
Oh, yeah, obviously it is happening in the case of plants also. This happening in the case of microbes, microorganisms like amoeba, bacteria, viruses, fungi, etc. in all of them. So it's a 24-hour process happening in all of them.
So
It happens
in
in all the microorganisms.
In all the microorganisms, but there's an exception like
plant cell,
viruses.
it
Okay, sir.
breaks down sugar in the presence of oxygen, right?
Yeah, obviously it breaks down the sugar or the sugar, which is also a type of carbohydrate. Like sugar is a type of carbohydrate. Starch is a type of carbohydrate. So in all, combining all of them together, we can call it a carbohydrate. Carbohydrate
Yeah.
is a component found in the food. Like carbohydrate are of different types. Sugar is a carbohydrate. Starch is a carbohydrate. Fructose is a carbohydrate. There are different types of carbohydrates. Okay, now. Okay. Furthermore, do tell me, respiration in the case of plants also it is going to be a 24-hour process. But is photosynthesis a 24-hour process?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Obviously, no. Furthermore, carbon dioxide gas prepared in the process of respiration by plants, can it be used in the process of photosynthesis?
Sir,
And-
what? Can you repeat?
My question is that the carbon dioxide gas that will be prepared, that will be released by the plants in the process of respiration. Like this equation is true for every organisms here. Okay, no? This is a common equation for all of them. Okay. So plants are also going to release this carbon dioxide gas in the process of respiration. Also, we know that carbon dioxide is one of the essential component required for photosynthesis to take place by the plants, right?
Yeah.
So this can't the plants use this carbon dioxide gas also in the process of photosynthesis? Yes,
Sir, they can use it.
they can use it, no?
Yes, sir.
Plants can use carbon dioxide gas produced during respiration in the process of photosynthesis. Okay, now. Or they would be taking some of the carbon dioxide from the nature also. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So respiration,
Sir, in the photosynthesis process, plants use sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide
very good.
to
Sunlight
create oxygen.
to create glucose and release oxygen. You
In
missed
the form of
water, I
sugar.
believe, in the form of
Yeah,
sugar. Yeah. Mhm.
sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide
Exactly.
to create
Okay, no?
oxygen and energy in the form
Hmm.
of sugar.
In the form of sugar. Very good. In the form of particularly glucose. Later on, glucose is converted into a starch.
Yeah.
Okay. So respiration is seen in plants, animals, and microorganisms. See, in the case of microorganisms, you are going to have different type of microorganisms are there. Hmm. Like when you see a bread mold, or when an apple or a orange is infected with molds with fungus, so that fungi is also a microorganism. That fungus is also a microorganism. So different type of microorganisms are there, but this one type of microorganism, like you all know about viruses. Okay, Halima is in the waiting room. Yeah, viruses are also there, but viruses do not show any movement until they enter into the body of a living organism. Halima, I was saying that viruses, which are also a microorganism, like when they have not enter into body of another living organism, they don't show any movement. Neither they will be moving, neither they would be eating something, neither they would be reproducing. Okay, now
Yeah.
neither they would be doing respiration. So there we have one exception, that viruses will do respiration only when they enter into the body of another living organisms. Okay.
Okay, sir.
They won't do any respiration or anything
Growth.
if they don't enter
Exactly.
any other living organism.
Exactly. That is the thing.
Okay.
Okay, now. So that's all about respiration. Also,
Sir, should we write this?
breathing. One moment. Also, breathing is a part of respiration. Breathing is a part of respiration because by breathing we are inhaling air which contains oxygen now.
Yes, sir.
So another
Yeah.
important point is that breathing is a part
Part
of
of
respiration.
respiration.
Very good. How you guys have understood? Because why this? We take in oxygen,
Yeah.
which will be used in the
And
process of
it will
breakdown of
be
food.
help to break down the food.
Very good. Okay, no? Okay, note down all these points.
Okay, sir.
So should we write?
Yes, you have to write it down. Done? Both of you?
Yeah, just sir, one more word.
Okay. Next, we would be learning about reproduction. Okay, now
Yes, sir, finished.
finished. Good. We're going to learn about that. Let me just take one slide over here. Now, see, for any living organism, in order to stay alive, it basically needs food, right? So it needs basically food. It needs water. It needs air, etc. Right? So by having access to all those things, a living organism can stay alive. A individual living organism, just one living organism, just one individual, he can stay alive if if he or she has access to water, food, air, shelter, etc. But then what is the need for reproduction? Reproduction, as we know, that talking about reproduction. So why reproduction is important and what is basically reproduction? If organisms do not reproduce, will their species become extinct? Will their kind become extinct? Will their population decrease? Will their number decrease? So these are some of the
Yes, sir.
questions we think of. So
Because
first,
more, sir, like more of the animal or the species will not be born, so they'll soon like get extinct.
exactly. So in order for the continuation of a species of a particular living organism, reproduction is required. A particular living organism, the kind of a particular living organism continues to live on this planet. So reproduction is important. So reproduction, it's a biological process in which living organisms would be creating or giving birth to offspring that are similar to themselves, giving birth to young ones that are similar to themselves. Not very identical, but I'm saying
Sir, it is
similar.
important because if they don't give reproduction, human beings, they will be extinct.
Exactly. The numbers would decrease, so thereby they can go extinct. So it's one of the fundamental characteristics, fundamental thing of all living organisms that is required for the continuity of a species. So a biological process in which living organisms, start writing it down also at the same time. A
Okay,
biological
sir,
process, okay, in which living organisms create slash give birth to offsprings of similar kind. The question, why is it required? The bet is required for continuity of the species.
So the first one is the definition of reproduction, right?
Yes, the definition of reproduction. Okay.
Okay.
Also here noted down, I have said similar, not identical. Is it that the children of the have you seen any child who is identical, who is identical to his or her to his parents?
no.
No, right? No.
No, sir.
No, so the child of humans are humans. It's not like a monkey or something else. So in that sense, they are similar, that it is also a human. But you have got like twins also. So twin children are identical to each
Yes,
other
sir.
in their looks. Okay. Although their characters can be differing, but in looks they are identical to each other. Also, they are similar, but more specifically, they are identical. But to their parents, they are similar, not identical to their parents.
Sir, what is
They
the
kind of look like their parents somehow. Like they're like maybe some of their features look the same.
Yes, some of their bodily features can be identical to their parents, same to their parents. Like Their hairs can be curly as to their parents' hair. Or the color of the iris of their eye can be same to that of their parents, like
Or
that.
like their color of their hair and eye color.
Exactly.
Done, sir.
Then okay. Furthermore, different organisms would have different means of reproduction. Like plants would be reproducing mainly through the seeds, huh? Or animals would be reproducing either by laying eggs or either by give birth to young ones, young living organisms.
Yeah.
Getting it now? So different
Yes, sir.
living organisms have different means of reproduction, right? This point also. For example, plants, they reproduce via seeds. Talking about animals, they can reproduce via eggs or via giving birth to live babies.
Hands.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, furthermore, reproduction in the case of microorganisms will be very different as compared to that of humans or other animals or plants.
Then
Okay.
how can plants reproduce by seeds?
Plants reproduce by seeds, yeah. In the case of microorganisms, for example, you have a common example of microorganism like an amoeba.
Amoeba.
So this will reproduce how its number is going to multiply. So this will simply split into two half. Basically, is going to split like this. So that is reproduction in the case of amoeba. It would be simply splitting into two halves right now. Also, it does not require any other partner in order to multiply, in order to reproduce.
Sir,
Right? Mhm.
what about for bacteria? They do the same reproduction?
Yeah, bacteria also do reproduction. They would also be doing the same kind of reproduction. They would also be simply splitting into two halves. They can split into more than two halves as well. Okay, no?
Sir.
Higher up in the higher classes, you'd be studying about binary fission. There you get to understand about it in more detail.
Okay.
Done, sir.
Good. So that's all about reproduction. By the way, you guys tell me, what do we call those organisms that lay eggs? Yes, what do we call them as? Those are egg-laying
Uh,
animals. Anyone? We call them as oviparous animals. Okay, no?
okay.
Hmm. And what about who do not lay eggs? What do we call those organisms that do not lay eggs?
A mammal.
Yes.
Mammals.
Yeah, mammals. Most of the mammals are there. huh? Generally, those organisms that would be giving birth to their young ones without laying eggs, they are called as viviparous animals. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Viviparous animals. Note this down also.
Okay.
Done.
Both of you.
No, sir.
Okay. Next, we are going to learn about the types of organisms based on their mode of nutrition, whether they would be manufacturing it themselves, or whether they would be depending on others for food. So we know that all living things need food in order to survive, whether it be plant,
Yeah.
animals, or microbes. Okay. So in nature, you have got the primary producers, as you guys know, that is plants, and plants can manufacture their own food in their green leaves via the process of photosynthesis.
Okay, sir, done.
Done, good. So talking about feeding, as I said moments ago, all living things needs food. So some of them which can prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis, we call them as autotrophs. Auto here refers to self. Troph here refers to food or nourishment. So those organisms who can provide nourishment to themselves, who can provide food to themselves without depending on others, they are called as autotrophs. So in autotrophs, you will count all the green plants. All the green plants are examples of autotrophs. Okay, now apart from this, you have some other organisms like alga. Remember earlier we talked about this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It is a
So-
greenish color, which we see in the sea or ocean.
Hmm,
Ponds
Exactly.
also.
exactly. So algae are also autotrophs. Then we have the animals like we humans, dogs, cats, cattles, etc., who can't prepare their own food. Or you have carnivorous animals as well. You have scavengers as well, who would be depending on others for food. Either they would be depending on directly upon plant-based food only, or they would be omnivorous that would be consuming both plant-based food and animal-based food also. So they are called as heterotrophs. In this, the term hetero means different, troph means food or basically nourishment. So organisms would be depending upon different.
Uh, they are consumers, right? Heterotrophs.
Exactly.
And animals.
Animals.
They eat other organisms to get.
Exactly. Right. So they would be consumers of different types, like herbivores are going to be there. You have omnivores, you have carnivores, you have scavengers, you have decomposers. So they are heterotrophs. They depend upon plants and other animals for food. So that's it. That's all about feeding. So that is one another characteristics of the living organisms. Non-living things do not show any
Sure.
such characteristic.
Sir, should we write this all?
You have to write the ones which I'm going to underline. Okay.
Okay.
Give the heading feeding. Then you write green plants manufacture their own food in their green leaves by photosynthesis. So they are called autotrophs. In example, you have to write alga. Alga are also autotrophs. Then animals cannot manufacture their own food. They are called as heterotrophs. This much only.
Okay, sir.
So this basically comes food chain, right?
Food chain. See, that's a different discussion. That's a different thing. But here we can when we get to see the food chain, there we get to study about autotrophs and heterotrophs both, in which all the heterotrophs would be depending upon one single type of heterotroph. After this, we would be learning about lifespan. Like
Okay, sir.
all the living organisms are going to have a lifespan, and they would ultimately they would be dying. But no such things in seen in the case of abiotic components of Earth, like you have mountains, or you have rivers, or you have soil, etc.
Sir, I finished.
Finished? Good.
Yes.
So, what do you guys basically understand by lifespan? What does the term lifespan mean?
Their like whole lifetime that they're going to most probably live.
Okay. Or can we basically see that it's the period of time between their birth and death, the time they have spent between their birth and death on this earth. So
Okay,
that
sir.
is basically a lifespan, or basically we can say the duration of existence of an individual on earth. No matter whether it's a plant, animal, microbe, whether it be a mosquito, whether it be a housefly, whatever it is. Huh? You can do tell me what is the lifespan of a mosquito? Anyone knows this? Like generally, a mosquito would be having a lifespan of just 1 week. On average, it would be having a lifespan of like 6 to 7 days only. So that is the lifespan of a mosquito. And what is the average lifespan of a human being? Of course, it varies from country to country, but generally, all around the world, it is around
Sir, lifespan of mosquito is, I guess, 10 days or 5 days.
less than 10 days, somewhere around 6 to 7 days. Okay, now. But
Okay,
for
sir.
example, human, the duration of the average duration of existence of a human on this earth is somewhere between 70 to 80 years. uh, Although this will vary from country to country. Depending on different things, it would differ from one country to another country.
Done,
Like
sir.
for example, for good, like for in United States of America, the average lifespan of a human is around 76 years. Around 76 years. What is the average lifespan of a human in Africa then? So it would be comparatively, as compared to USA, it would be less in the case of Africa, because the medical facilities and other aspects of life, they are comparatively poorer in condition as compared to America. So healthcare facilities are poor in case of Africa. Getting it now? So the average life expectancy or the lifespan of a person living in Africa would be around 60, 65 years or 61 years. While in the case of United States of America, the living conditions are better in that country. In certain aspects, like healthcare facilities are a bit better as compared to other countries. So it's going to have the people are going to have more lifespan, like 76 or 77 years. You guys getting it? What I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So it's the characteristic of all the living things that they would follow a cycle of growth and development in which an organism would be taking birth. He would grow into an adult. He would then he or she would be growing old and then finally die. So that is known as the life cycle of an organism. Then what is lifespan? So it's basically the period of duration of existence of a living organism on Earth. Like as I told you about mosquito moments ago, its lifespan is somewhere between 6 to 7 days. And that of a human, it has around, it will differ. For example, if you were to talk about countries like Africa, 60 to 65 years, or in United States, it is around 76 years. So hope you guys are getting it.
Sir, due to the like quality of the area around, it will differ the like age.
Exactly. the average lifespan of people are going to differ from country to country depending upon the life conditions, depending upon the healthcare facilities, depending upon the economic opportunities, all that. Okay,
Okay,
now,
sir.
so that's it for today. We have, okay, that's it for today. We'll be meeting in next class then.
Sir, may I leave?
Yes, you guys can leave.
Thank you, sir.
Halima, you done writing it?
Not yet, sir.
Okay, good. If possible, take the screenshot. Yes, Vaika, how are you?
I'm good, sir.